Have you ever wondered if someone will genuinely see you and choose you just as you are? Not the kind of love that keeps you busy or fills the silence, but the kind that makes everything feel more bright and alive. Maybe the void hits you when you're scrolling down all messages and wondering why it didn't go anywhere. Or when you wake up next to someone, but still feel that ache that something's missing. Or when you're out with friends and everyone's seemingly having a great time, but deep down it feels like you're on the outside looking in and that no one really sees the part of you that feels empty. That quiet ache, the one no one likes to talk about, can make you wonder if the kind of love you're searching for is even real or if it's just out of reach. But what if the answer to how to find your ideal human isn't about searching harder or being someone you're not? What if it's about reconnecting with a part of yourself that you've been avoiding, the part that changes how you love and how love finds you? That's what this video is about. And by the end, my promise is that you will see the lesson no one talks about, but everyone needs to learn. So what is the biggest problem in love? The biggest problem in love is developing the courage and skill to embrace the most courageous and vulnerable act you'll ever step into in this lifetime, in my experience, which is allowing the depth of intimacy with another human being to reveal a version of you that lay dormant inside of you and would have never emerged in a million years on its own, while not losing the true essence of you in this courageous act. In other words, it's knowing how to open up to higher and higher levels of emotional, intellectual, sexual, and spiritual vulnerability while remaining true to your heart, to your essence, and your soul. Now, in case you're thinking, well, thanks for that, Bern, what the hell do I do with it? In this video, I'm going to guide you through the 6 balancing acts you absolutely must embrace if you want to let love transform you without losing yourself. Coming in at number 1 is the humble acceptance that the best kind of love transforms you. Now, we live in a society that has gone all the way to the extreme of individualism. And what does that mean? It means that we made a sharp U-turn from back in the day, the horrific day, I may add, where a man would tell you to just take care of the kids and stay in the kitchen and do as I say. You were dependent on him for your well-being. You couldn't vote. You really didn't have much choice other than to say yes, sir, in some ways. Now, that's transformed for the better, thankfully. And now we're at the other end of the spectrum where many human beings have reached an act of defiance and fierce independence where we seemingly don't need anything from anyone else, and where the definition of freedom is I do what I say, when I say, with whom I say, and I don't care what everybody else thinks. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's better than the first one, but I think there's some middle ground that we're seeking. If you're watching my video, you're probably wanting a deep connection with someone that's more of an interdependence than this fierce independence or this fierce dependence on someone else. So the understanding that love transforms is being willing to put yourself on the line, to be willing to be vulnerable, to be willing to go outside of your comfort zone, to seek an experience that will make your life infinitely better. Now, I'm not dissing in any way. If you're one of those women who says, hey, I want to be single for the rest of my life and it's my choice, that all the power to you. Nothing against anyone who ever wants that. For most of us, I mean, I don't speak for myself. I'm looking to grow and evolve and connect with someone and reach a level of intimacy that changes my experience of life for the better. It's the acknowledgement that in intimacy, 1 + 1 is 10, not 2. The question that can help you to start stepping into this, I'm going to give you a question for each one of these balancing acts, is what part of me am I most afraid of letting come out? And if you write these questions down, I think you'll be benefiting, because I'd love for this to be a back and forth exchange where you can grow and learn and evolve, not just listen passively. Number two is the balancing between practicing the death of your old self with compassion versus loathing. So let me go a little deeper. The moment you really step into the ring and the arena of an intimate relationship, you're going to notice that there's parts of you that need to be let go of. There's a part of you that's going to have to die, and another part of you that's going to have to be reborn for you to be able to live in harmony with another person. Now, it is very common that as you start recognizing those patterns, those wounds, those challenges, those deficiencies that we all have, that you might start evaluating your past with a level of harshness and a level of I should have done this differently that is going to be highly detrimental to your mental, emotional well-being. This balancing act is how do you allow yourself to let go of the things that don't serve you without going into the I'm a bad or flawed human being because I haven't changed these things. That you can forgive yourself in the best of ways while holding yourself at a high standard. Because if you recognize that there's things you need to change in a relationship, you need to change, not to change who you are, but to be a better human being for yourself and your partner, then knowing how to do it by being kind to yourself instead of punching yourself as a metaphorical punching bag is essential. Now, what is the question that can start getting you into the essence of doing this consistently? The question is, what part of me do I most need to forgive today? Balancing act number 4 is bracing yourself for a mirror that has an ultra sharp definition and the brightest lights. Have you ever had the experience of going inside maybe the Gap and going inside the dressing room and having a big, bright, bold light that will show you every imperfection of your skin and your body all at once? I have. It's not a fun experience. But the entering of a deeply connected relationship will do just that. It's not going to be mean about it, but you're going to recognize through the mirror of someone else, through the seeing yourself at the threshold of what you're capable of doing and saying, you're going to recognize flaws of your humble humanity that need to change, that you want to change. And without understanding that love will do that, you might feel that there's something wrong. Because here's the thing, if you're meditating alone in the mountain and you're saying, I am free, then you don't have to face the kind of awakening that takes place when you put yourself in the middle of a city that's crowded and people shouting and horns are honking. That's a different level of mastery of your own self. A relationship will show you all the ways that you might want to change and evolve, and also the ways you need to heal. So for you to enter this relationship and go up the plane, and when the plane is going up, there's turbulence. Turbulence is uncomfortable, but it is not dangerous. If you don't know how a plane works, then you might feel that the plane is in danger. Just like when you enter a relationship and you start sensing all these things in yourself that need to come out and get better or heal, you might feel like there's something wrong. You want to go back to the comfort of being on your own. And if you're with a healthy human being, and if you are being kind to yourself, there's still going to be a feeling of, ooh, this feels a little scary. So the question I will gift you right now that can start giving you the ability to step into this thing and not throw in the towel is, what do I crave with enough desire that I'm willing to allow the big, bright mirror of myself to be shown to me in 3D? Now, before I share my last 3 balancing acts, if you're a single woman watching this, I'd be willing to bet there's a blind spot that's making you unaware of the root cause while you're still single. And what I've done is I've taken 13 years of helping women of every walk of life, every kind of love challenge you can imagine, to attract their ideal life partner. I'm talking marriages and committed life partnerships that have really stood the test of time. And I've put together a quiz you can take in about 60 seconds that will reveal to you the answer to the question, what's the number one reason I'm still single? If you'd like to participate, all you have to do is go to the first link on the description of this video. You will see a page that looks like this. Answer a few simple questions, and in 60 seconds, you'll have 2 things. The answer to the elusive question why you're still single, and a report that's going to show you, based on your specific blind spot, what is the number one action you can take today to attract the relationship you want in a fraction of the time. Balancing act number 4 is the courage to ask and the grace to give. So, what does that mean? That means that in so many relationships today, the disconnect is not being clear about what we're feeling and experiencing and not having enough courage to ask, because asking for what your true needs are is one of the most vulnerable things you will ever do in this lifetime, because the person in front of you could ridicule you, could ignore you, could reject you, could think less of you. So we tend to keep those close to our hearts while giving ourselves permission to be upset when they're not met, to be passive aggressive about not having our needs met, and sometimes expressing our needs in subconscious, disconnected, and indirect ways that are hardly ever going to get us the true thing that we're looking for. So the courage to ask is being willing to recognize I have needs, and if I'm in a relationship, it is not codependent to meet some of my needs to the relationship. That's where I think things get lost. I think we've gone to the extreme where if you have needs within a relationship, well, I'm needy. No, if you have needs within a relationship, you're a human being. Now, there are needs that you need to fulfill within yourself, but there's needs you're going to feel within the relationship. So, how do you ask for what you want? And how do you become selfless enough to give the partner that is asking you for something in return to gift it without strings attached? Now, obviously, this is easier said than done, but that's where knowing what you want, knowing who you are, having a language that allows you to say, here's what would make a lot of sense to me, or here's what I need most, or here's what happened the other day, and I didn't feel great when this happened. Not you made me feel bad, but I didn't feel great when this happened. Here's what I would love instead. Here's what would make a difference for me. Would you be willing to ask me that question differently? Would you be willing to give me more time in advance when you want to ask me on a date? Would you be willing to hold off on the sex for right now until we get to know each other at a deeper level? The courage to ask and the grace to give is the balancing act that is at the core of an intimate relationship. So the question that can help you get more and more stepping into this, because there's two different things you can do in life. You can talk about chocolate or you can taste chocolate. Tasting chocolate is doing the work. So what do I most crave that I'm not asking for? And what am I willing to give for it? And I'm not asking you to give becoming someone you're not. However, anyone who talks about relationships that doesn't really think about compromise is talking in illusion. Anyone who talks about a long-lasting relationship that lasts a lifetime, that isn't talking about sacrifice, no, beyond compromise, sacrifice, is really diluted. Now, the sacrifice doesn't need to be losing yourself, but the sacrifice will be giving something that is not easy to give, giving something that forces you to become a stronger, more open, more generous human being, and knowing when to say no, knowing when to say this goes beyond my reach. This is something that I can no longer give, or I can never give. Balancing act number 5 is the balance between enjoying the relationship and working on the relationship. Now, there are too many humans who go to either extreme. Now, most humans go to the extreme of believing that the relationship is this endless well of just getting what you want and enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, then it's a bad relationship. It should always feel good. It should always feel passionate. It should always feel alive. And the nature of our relationship is going to be fluctuations and there's going to be waves. So learning how to balance, actively enjoying, not leaving it up to chance, and actively working on the relationship is something so important, because we are in a society right now that has a subconscious level of entitlement towards a relationship. We want so much from a relationship and not necessarily willing to invest in developing the skills to be worthy of that relationship. So we've been adding more and more emotional, psychological, spiritual needs to what we take out of our relationship compared to 50, 100, even more years ago. But the skills haven't really matched up to the level of desire we have. So working on the relationship is, if you want a relationship that's going to be successful and fulfilling, and you think that you're just going to naturally do it, it's not going to happen. Not in this day and age. If you're looking for a weekend boyfriend, maybe. If you're looking for a true spiritual, emotional, psychological, intellectual partner, a guy who takes your call at 3 in the morning or living together will wake up with you at 3 in the morning to hold you when there's something real taking place, that kind of relationship is going to require active investment in working on the relationship, on each other, and not just taking for granted. And it's also going to require taking some time from your busy schedules to plan having fun. That's not just planning dates, but it's saying, hey, we have an hour of unstructured time. That might be a great conversation, a great walk, a massage session, love making, but without putting in the effort of scheduling it, for most couples in this day and age, it's not going to happen. So the question that's going to help you step into this right now is, am I willing to commit to actively working and actively playing in this relationship? Coming in at number 6 is knowing when to let go, not just of a relationship, but when to let go of the parts of you that no longer serve you, when to let go of an argument, when to let go of a dream that was misguided, but a better dream can emerge if you are willing to suspend the it has to happen this way, knowing when to let go of the current form of a relationship. Sometimes a relationship has to die for a new relationship with the same human being to emerge. So if you are right now of the kind that has a very clear idea on your mind of what you want, and you're not really tuning to what's taking place with your partner, you might go for a caricature or an Instagram version that's full of checkboxes without acknowledging the depth, the mystery, the magic that can evolve with someone in front of you. So understanding when is the relationship no longer serving either of us, you really exhausted the possibilities, not just throwing the towel without going forward. When do you need to end the current relationship to start a new one? Same human being under a new contract and a new construct, and when to let go of those parts of you that are calling you to a better self to emerge. The question that will start guiding this beginning of process for you is, what has been my biggest fear in the past in letting go of something that didn't serve me? So if you start acknowledging right now in your history, what are the times where you've needed to let go of something or someone, specifically a relationship or some part of you within a relationship, and has kept you there, can maybe give you an insight into what might be your tendency or your pattern so you don't repeat this going forward. Hope this is a meaningful conversation for you. This feels slightly more nuanced than how to text your boyfriend into submission or how to make him commit to you without him even knowing what happened. This is a different kind of conversation, but if you're up for this kind of stuff, it means the world to me and to my channel if you click like and subscribe. If you'd like to continue learning how you can attract the kind of relationship you want and the guy you want without gimmicks, manipulation games, or stupid techniques, then make sure to watch the next video right here.